Om Shanti sister, how are you?
Fine, brother. Om Shanti, brother.
Happy New Year.
Thank you, brother. Happy New Year.
Okay, thank you sister. So in this New Year, we are going to discuss about the topic that's related to New Year. Actually, it's about the talk delivered by Sadhguru of Isha Yoga on New Year's Eve. So he was saying about the specialities of Tamil month Margazhi, because the headquarters is in Tamil Nadu, although he is famous internationally. So, which is a pride for us all, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, he says that during this auspicious month of Margari, there will be special uh, music sessions, Carnatic music sessions, praising God. So, people will be diverted towards devotion in this month. And the reason for that, he says, is since people tend to hibernate, become inactive during the coldest month of the year, our elders devised a nice method uh, by diverting them towards devotion so that they wake up early. So at 4 o'clock, they uh, start cleaning their house. They put rangoli in front of their house, uh, and also they will go to temple regularly, and they will stay as pure as possible. They stay away from consuming non-vegetarian foods, and also people Hindus don't conduct marriages during this month. So he says
Okay.
that's to avoid conception during this month, because babies that are conceived during this month will be delivered abnormally, either mentally or physically. Also, there is a possibility of that baby becoming extraordinary, but people don't want to take the risk, so they don't conceive during this period. So that is his explanation about this month. But we Brahmakumaris know the actual reason behind not only Margari, because in Tamil months there are several other months that are considered holy, like Puratasi, Adi, Margari, like that. And
Kartigai.
Kartigai, yeah. Uh, in addition, not only Hindus, even in Islam, the month of Ramadan is considered holy.
Yes.
In Christianity, there is a period of 40 days called Lent. So that is also considered holy, where they devote themselves for God. So what Sadhguru says, although it looks scientifically correct, but in reality, it has nothing to do with science. Uh, it is everything to do with spiritual progress. But it is actually the uh, everything, every single ritual that we follow in all religions, they all represent a particular point of time in this world where God Himself comes and gives His divine teachings to humans. Actually, Muslims, they consider holy month of Ramadan correctly, because that's when they consider that Holy Quran was descended on Muhammad, which is the correct reason. But in reality, God Himself comes, not religious founders like Muhammad or Jesus or Buddha. It's not about that. In Hinduism, everything is about God directly, not about any humans. So that God, He comes At the end of this 5,000 year time cycle, this time cycle is called Kalpa. Every
Okay.
5,000 years once, during the end of Kali Yuga, God Himself comes. And that God is called Shiva by Hindus, Allah by Muslims, Heavenly Godfather by Christians. Other than that, nobody who took birth out of mother's womb can be considered God. They are humans. Everybody else is human. God is just
Yes.
one. He is one. He comes only once, and his teaching is just one. And that teaching is not for creating another religion, but to
Okay.
create the heaven that is free of any human made religions. So just imagine where there is world without any religion, where everybody is loving towards each other. That's what heaven is all about. And that heaven, uh, there is no question of poverty or any sickness or any natural calamities or any sorrow of any kind. There is no trace of sorrow or pain in heaven for the first 2,500 years. Not only for humans, even for animals, they love so each other that lion and cow take water from the same pond together. Even they feed on plants. Lion and tiger, those animals that are considered wild now, even they would be feeding only on plants in heaven. That's reason it's called heaven. But heaven is uh, the excellent creation of God, because God creates this world as heaven. The same world we live in was once heaven. But after the first 2,500 years, it slowly becomes hell. We start committing sins. And the reason for that is, while we were in heaven, we were fully soul conscious. That is, we considered ourselves to be the soul that shines like a tiny star in between the eyebrows, which is why we apply tilak here. So we interact with each other, considering ourselves to be souls and not as bodies. And that is the reason there is no question of lust, anger, greed, attachment, or ego. So obviously there won't be any sorrow if there are no vices at all. And since we were constantly soul conscious, we were constantly happy and peaceful, because that's the true nature of soul. But after the completion of 2,500 years, we can no longer concentrate on the soul. So that's when we get disturbed by external attractions and become addicted to sensual pleasures. In other words, we become body conscious instead of soul conscious. We considered ourselves to be this body, so we no longer derive happiness from within. So we seek pleasure from outside. Thereby, the devils within us start to emerge, like lust, anger, greed, attachment, and ego. These five vices are present both in men and women, and they are combinedly called 10-headed Ravan. Other than that,
Okay.
there were no person with 10 heads ever. So, can you imagine anybody with 10 heads? Is it possible?
No,
That's not
brother.
at all possible. Yeah. So, only God reveals these things. So, this is the kingdom of Ravan or kingdom of Satan by Hindus, by Christians and Muslims. They say that. In order to rescue the souls from the clutches of Ravan, God enters a human body in the last 100 years. He doesn't take
Okay.
birth from a mother's womb. He directly enters an old man's body, and he names him
Okay.
Brahma. And he
Mm.
gives the knowledge about this 5,000 year time cycle, and also the secret to regain the kingdom of heaven again. How do you
Okay.
do that? by becoming soul conscious again. But we are so body conscious that we get so intoxicated to everything that's around us. Whatever we listen to, we get intoxicated. Whatever we see, we get intoxicated. We get addicted. That's the right word. So we become slaves to everything, especially these five vices. God comes and save us from that slavery, which is portrayed in Ramayana as rescuing Sita from the slavery of Ravan,
Mm.
from the prison of Ravan. Likewise, in Bible and Quran, it is mentioned God through Moses rescues the slaves of Egypt, but in
Mm.
reality, they are not slaves of other human beings. They are slaves of their vices.
Okay.
That's why God comes, because this is an invisible enemy that is in everybody. So, in these 100 years, God asks us to consider ourselves to be souls again and to connect our mind with the Supreme Soul God Shiva. He shines like a tiny star in the golden red colored light world. So, we need to consider God as our beloved Father as much as possible, no matter what we do. Because it is because by becoming body conscious that we have been committing sins after sins that's accumulated in our soul for the past 2500 years. In order to wash away all these sins, to purify our souls and to become filled with divine qualities like love, purity, peacefulness, blissfulness, we need to be in remembrance of just one God and nothing else. We have to detach ourselves from everybody, your family, your friends, your relatives, because we are so attached to them that if anything happens to them, we get hurt. If they do
Yes.
anything bad to us, still we get hurt. Not because they did so, it is because of our attachment that we feel the pain. God says, detach yourself. Because
Okay.
whatever happens in this 5,000 year time cycle called Kalpa, that keeps repeating accurately Kalpa after Kalpa. To put it simply, if you are watching this video now, it is 100% sure that you watched the same video 5,000 years back on the very same date. You will again be watching on the very same day in every Kalpa. That's how accurate this is. So if somebody else is causing us pain, since we know the knowledge that they will do this kalpa after kalpa at this particular point of time, the same action that he is doing now, because his soul is recorded, pre-recorded with this play. So that's not his fault. On knowing this, with this awareness, instead of getting angry with them, we feel mercy for them. So that's how he makes this world filled with sorrow, and the people who accepts God and takes knowledge directly from the heavenly Godfather Shiva to become happy amidst all the pain and sorrow that's surrounding us, because we know we are not this body, and I am the son or daughter of the Supreme Soul God Shiva who has no body. But now we need to establish all relationships with one God Shiva. He is my husband, he is my father, he is my child, mother, everything. And the main thing is he is imperishable, he is unchangeable. Man changes his mind every single second. God doesn't. That's why he is called Sada Shiva, who remains constant in his love, purity, peace. He is the ocean of love, ocean of purity, ocean of peace. So, by immersing ourselves in remembrance of God Shiva, we also become embodiments of love, embodiments of peace, embodiments of blissfulness. So God says, now it is time that you need to prepare yourself for entering another kalpa. And the beginning of that kalpa will be heaven. But now you are in deep hell. That people, even kids, are filled with these five vices. So you have to clean your mind to the extent there is nothing but remembrance of God and remembrance of the knowledge of God, which is called Murli, which is available absolutely free of cost in all Brahmakumaris Rajyog meditation centers. You can also Google it yourself. You will find Murlis in all languages. So this 100 years, when God Himself descends on earth and gives this teaching directly to humans, is the most confluence, most auspicious age, which is called confluence age, because it is the confluence of the new kalpa and the world kalpa. It's the confluence or meeting of soul and the supreme soul. So this is so auspicious that it is only now we can have the chance of meeting God directly and getting the teachings directly from God. Not only that, it is through imbibing the knowledge of God that we become the masters of heaven. God comes here to make us into the masters of heaven, and God is not going to come to heaven. After making us eligible to claim the kingdom of heaven, He takes all souls with Him to the supreme abode, because that's where we came from. That's where we live in the end. And before leaving, if you become 100% pure, then you will immediately take birth in heaven. As soon as the heaven is created, you will start taking birth and enjoy the richness of heaven for the next 2500 years. So it is in remembrance of these last 100 years that they consider 1 month to be holy. That's the actual reason. So the reason that they don't conduct marriage during the month of Margari is not because the child is going to be born abnormal. It is because God's core teaching itself is lust is the greatest enemy. So people don't indulge in lust just as remembrance of what God teaches. Even when people go to Shabrimala, they don't indulge in lust. They are celibate, they are pure. It is because we stay pure in this lost birth throughout our life, the devotees imitate that just for 40 days or 30 days. And we don't consume non vegetarian foods. Not only that, we don't consume foods outside. We consume foods that's prepared solely by us in remembrance of God Shiva as a point of light. And also, we eat in remembrance of God Shiva and we eat with God Shiva. So, we are living with God Shiva. That's why this is the holiest age, confluence age, which is not mentioned in any scriptures. Even this time cycle, Kalpa time cycle, is very long in human written scriptures, but in actuality, it's just 5,000 years old. So now, my dear brothers and sisters, you would know the actual reason behind considering any month to be holy. Actually, it is in remembrance of these 100 years, they celebrate every festival in any religion. Just take Diwali, the greatest Hindu festival. They lit lamp in every home. This body is the home for the soul. In heaven, everybody will be soul conscious. That is, the lamp of the soul is ignited. As the remembrance of that, they lit the physical lamp. And if you take Dashara, they create the effigy of Ravan and they burn it. So Ravan is as we have already mentioned, those five vices. It is by conquering Ravan that we enter the kingdom of heaven, which is the kingdom of Ram. This is actually Ram Rajya because this is Ravan Rajya. So Ram Rajya can be created only by God, not by humans. It's the kingdom, not the democracy where people get to select their own leader. So this is the actual secret behind that. And in that speech, um, he also Sadhguru speaks about Uttarayan and Dakshinayan. So Bhishma Pitama was shot with arrows and he was lying in the bed of arrows. But since he had the boon of leaving his body on his own wish, he didn't want to leave this body till Uttarayan begins because it is believed when someone leaves the body during Uttarayan, they will enter heaven. They need not take birth in this earth, which means the hell. Actually, heaven is also the same earth, but the different time. But nobody knows that. They think heaven is somewhere else, hell is somewhere else. But we are living in hell. If you have any doubt, just look around. See the news about Palestine, news about Ukraine. See the rapes that's been happening everywhere, even in our own country. How many uh, reasons do you want to get yourself convinced that this is hell? This is already hell. We are seeing natural calamities everywhere. People are so
Yes.
scared of everything. So,
Yes.
yeah. So, uh, they say in Tamil months, they say uh, for devas or devatas or deities, 6 months in human terms is considered a day for deity. 6 months in our calculation, human calculation, is considered a night for uh, deities. So in Tamil month, Margari, till Margari, the 6 months, including the sixth month, Margari, is considered the night of deities. After Margari, it becomes Thai. That's when the day of deities begin, which is heaven. So even in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned as the night of Brahma, night of Brahma and the day of Brahma. Brahma ka din, Brahma ka raat. So the reason it is called day of Brahma is because everybody was happy. Moreover, they were soul conscious. They know who they are. And in the night, they don't know who they are. They just forget it. That's why it is considered night. That's why people fall into vices and they lose all the soul power. When the soul power gets depleted, our health, wealth, beauty, everything gets depleted. So, in order to acquire everything that we have lost over the period of 5,000 years back, all we need to do is to become pure again. How do we do that? By being in remembrance of God Shiva. And we got to develop the practice of seeing each other as souls, not as bodies. So, this is the actual teaching of God. So, the reason actually Mahabharata, Ramayana, Quran, Bible, they did not actually happen. If it happened, it would be included in our history books. Do we read it in history? No, we don't, right? They did not happen. But it has deep spiritual secret, but not directly. It's hidden. It's only after getting the direct knowledge of God, which is the essence of all scriptures, that we can actually decode what's written in Ramayana, Bhagavad Gita, everything. For example, in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned, I am the seed of the inverted tree. So, can anybody who teaches Srimad Bhagavad Gita decode what it is? It is
It's
impossible.
very
They just sing in a very good voice. People get satisfied with just that. They don't bother about the meaning. The same applies to Quran. The same applies to Bible. They don't bother about the actual meaning of it. So this looks like an inverted tree, right? This looks like a tree with root
yes.
and inverted tree. It's the tree of the souls. And now it's like an inverted tree, and the seed is God. It is from the seed the tree emerges. Likewise, it is from the knowledge of God the human tree develops in the world. First, so whoever is in the main stem, they descend initially and become deities. And these branches represent several religions. So they come after 2500 years. So there are many secrets involved. So it has nothing to do with science. If you want to bring science into it, you will make the mess out of spirituality, which is exactly Sadhguru does. Nobody else did this in Hinduism. Maybe in Muslims try to do that. But Hinduism, only if you do not know what it is, you want to combine science into that. There's no need for that because science cannot predict anything about soul because it is invisible. It's so tiny. God is also so tiny. Only if you can uh, feel the existence of it, you can learn anything about it. But doctors are trying, breaking their head to find where the hell the soul is, but they can't. It's so tiny. But we know it is there when we are alive. When we are dead, we know for sure that it has left the body. That's it. That's the only knowledge people know about soul. It is only God says it's here. It's so tiny, but still the mind, intellect, and sanskar, they form the parts of a soul. So that's the reason God doesn't have a body. He takes another man's body and he's able to give this teaching. How is he able to do that? When he has no body, he has no brain. So this proves that mind and intellect is not in the brain, but it's a part of the soul itself. That's the reason when somebody leaves the body and uh, they enter somebody else's body as a ghost, they're able to tell everything about their life, their relatives.
Previous.
Yeah, how is it possible? When their brain were burnt, how is it possible? So that
Yes.
proves that mind and intellect is not in brain. It is
Since
in the soul. Maybe it uses brain to give orders to the rest of the body, but it doesn't mean it is where the mind is located. We got to understand that as well. And the reason it is said Bhishma Pidama did not leave his body till Uttarayan begins is because if you live anywhere in the last 2500 years, anywhere you leave your body, you are sure to take birth here because it's only hell now. It is only when it becomes heaven that you will be able to take birth in heaven. That too, only when you are eligible. So Bhishma Pidama, as soon as he got shot with arrows, he realizes the true knowledge. So now he is eligible, but heaven hasn't come yet. So only when you leave the body in your last birth, after becoming eligible, that you will be able to take birth in heaven. That's all about this. But it has nothing to do with that Uttarayan or Dakshin, that movement of sun or any other planet. They have just linked this with the physical things. But that has nothing to do with heaven or hell or to do anything with God. But unfortunately, since they do not know anything about God, they do research with those things. And also, he goes on to give advice to the youngsters because nowadays people are so addicted to drugs. So he says, um, don't, so nothing is going to change just because New Year begins, right? Everything is going to remain the same. So, what's the need for getting intoxication out of drugs? You can get that intoxication from within because he says this is the greatest product. He doesn't say it is the greatest product by God. He doesn't use the word God at all. So he says, I don't know what kind of spiritual guru he is, that he doesn't speak about soul, he doesn't speak about God, but still people in billions are following him. So that's Kali Yuga. Okay. So he says, whatever you want, you can create with this body. If it's intoxication, if it is awareness, if it is depression, you can find everything because anyway, this body is going to experience all that. So, how do you do that? Because all followers of Isha Yoga, they believe that by doing this sadhana he teaches, which is nothing but to stay calm. That's it. Well, of course, you have to shake your legs, uh, hands, do some breathing techniques. They think by doing that they will reach higher level, which is the what can I say? Which is the absolute ignorance, ignorance at its peak. How can it change your character? How can it increase your power to face any challenging situation? Of course, when you are in Isha Yoga ashram, of course you will be staying peaceful because there's nothing challenging with you.
Yes.
But if you are in the family, if you're going to work, when somebody uh, with some psychiatric problem misbehaves with you, that's when you know the real you, real capacity of you. Or else you won't know because his followers mostly they are rich people or um, they are the residents of ashram. Either way, they are not going to face any problem because they consider Sadhguru to be God. Obviously, they are going to do whatever he says. Of course, he tests that before he takes them in. So for some months, they'll be under observation whether they are obedient. If they are not obedient, they will be just thrown out. That's it. But the real magic is being able to change your nature altogether. If you have this uncontrolling, angry attitude, if you become so calm no matter what happens, that's the real transformation. That's something you can never bring about by doing Isha Yoga or any other Hatha Yogas. It's possible only with Raja Yoga by remembering God and by listening to the teachings of God daily and imbibing the knowledge. It takes time and effort. But no matter how many years you spend doing these Hatha Yogas, that has zero effect in your mental health. Whether or not it's going to have any effect on your health, that's questionable. Even that cannot be proved. But changing your attitude, that needs some work on your mind. If you chant Om Namah Shivaya for n number of times, how is it going to change your mentality? If you are focusing on your breath, how is it going to change your mentality? How will it enhance you to face deadly uh, situations like the death of your loved ones or the cheating by your loved ones? That's not going to happen. And God says, remember me as a point of point of light, and also establish all relationships just with me and with nobody. Consider everybody as your brothers and sisters and no other relationship with anybody. Be it your mom, be it your wife, be it your husband, be it your child. They are just your brother souls because they were already there in some other body. When they were in other body, you are no one to them. And they are now in your family for a short period of time and they will leave it. You don't know when, but it is sure to happen. Then why do you develop attachment towards them? Now, attach yourself to me who can never cheat on you, who can never die. He is imperishable, unchangeable. He is an embodiment of love. By remembering him, the more you remember him, the more happiness you derive. The more you remember any human being, the more weak your soul gets, and you will know that when something goes wrong. And lust is the greatest enemy. That's why God says to stay away from that. Because our mind becomes so obsessed with lust that your intellect has no control over your mind anymore. Your intellect should be able to rein your mind. You should not let go of your mind wander as it wishes. It should be under the order of your intellect. And we don't know what's right and wrong because our mind is corrupted by reading religious scriptures and following spiritual gurus and other dictates of humans. So only God knows the truth. God is the truth. That's why we say Satyam Shivam Sundaram. If he is truth, it obviously means everybody else is false. So God says, consider yourself to be soul and consider yourself dead to this world because death means separation of the soul from the body. You no longer consider yourself to be the body or you consider yourself having a body. You just consider yourself to be a light without the body. And you see each other, you speak with each other as a soul. If somebody is speaking with you, in your mind, that soul is speaking. And my soul is listening. Actually, it's not my soul, I am the soul. It is my body. So when you develop this practice, when you become fully soul conscious, come out of body conscious fully, then no matter what happens around you, that's not going to have any impact on you. It is because you are attached to this body, you are attached to everybody that's related to this body, father, mother, wife, child, everything. So in Tamil Nadu, there's a festival called Mayanakolai. They celebrate very grandly in the graveyard. So yeah, there's a temple to Parvati, uh, especially to Kali, the avatar of Parvati. So they have this statue made of clay for Kali in the lying position. So at the end of the festival, everybody will jump on Parvati and breaks the statue. So The reason for that is it is only when we break our body conscious fully that we become divine, that we are able to emerge those divine qualities that's merged within us. So that's the reason people break coconut in front of God. So he says you can bring intoxication from within. How do you bring that? By staying calm. If you have taken some intoxicating alcohol, then if you stay calm, maybe you will be intoxicated. If you stay calm, if you get intoxicated, then you should be intoxicated while you are sleeping, because that's the absolute thoughtless state. So all they teach is to sleep in the sitting position. Is that meditation? Meditation is about connecting with God. Since you do not know anything about God, people say to concentrate on some mantra, chanting mantras, concentrate on the chakras, on the breath, but that's not going to have any effect on your spiritual progress. Nonetheless, you will be going deep down. That's why the world has become the place filled with rapes, all sorts of crimes. It's rape is a daily news now in India, maybe in other parts of the world as well. And Sadhguru comments that people say that it is through suffering that one becomes profound or clever. And she says, well, not with me, thank you. Maybe it's with you. So he's making fun of others. He says, if you want suffering, why wait till your father in law or mother in law comes? Just take a needle and poke yourself. Or if you want more pain, take nail. But we have to understand he has mentioned the word mother in law or father in law. So he knows very well that they are causing the trouble. How? If you stay calm, do you think the uh, domestic violence that's exerted on women by in laws, she will be able to face it? Maybe she can go to your ashram. But is that the path? Is that how it should be? So the only way they know is to escape the household. But God doesn't teach that. God asks you to be in the family to face everything without getting affected by it. How do you do that? So people, when they find their immediate surrounding toxic, they try their best to leave that surrounding. But unfortunately, the wherever you go, it is still part of heaven. Sorry, part of hell, kingdom of Ravan. No matter where you go, you will still face problem in various forms and sizes. So God says there is a place where you can find peace, and you can go to that place without even moving your feet or hand. Where is that? That's where we came from, the soul world, which is called Parandam or Parlok. So it's the golden red colored light world. All souls reside there along with God before taking birth. God always resides there, but we take birth in heaven, and everything was good in heaven because we were so rich, we were so beautiful, no trace of sorrow in heaven. But when we start entering, taking birth in hell, we become body conscious, so we become addicted to sensual pleasures and those five vices. Under the influence of them, we start committing sins. We can't differentiate between right and wrong. So that's the reason we are afflicted with many diseases and many sorrows in the form of natural calamities, uh, conflict within relationships. Everything is happening for that. And the people are those uh, world's richest nations. They compete with each other in creating bombs that's capable of destroying the whole world. Of course, they are spending billions not to just keep it in showcase. They will definitely use it for sure and destroy the world. But don't worry about it, because death is only for the body, not for the soul. It's imperishable. The only thing you need to worry about is it is sinful now, filled with all those five vices. You need to wash away your sins by being in remembrance of God. You can't wash away sins by taking bath in Ganges or any holy rivers. You can't. Or by going to any pilgrimage places like Mecca or Sabrimala or Kailaya. No, that's not going to have any impact on your soul, because soul is so subtle, and those sins are deeply ingrained for birth after birth. So it is by being in remembrance of God as a point of light, and also by imbibing the teachings of God on daily basis, slowly you will be filled with divine qualities, so that the devilish qualities automatically get washed away. So
In talking
by
about the
remembering
body,
uh, by remembering God as a point of light all the time, what happens is, slowly you will no longer be attracted to your surroundings, whether it's negative or positive, but you will be able to bring your attention to the soul and to connect it to the supreme soul. That's when you start experiencing happiness from within. The more you connect yourself with the supreme soul, who shines like a tiny star in the golden red colored light world, you can remember him like a star in the golden red colored sky. The more you remember him, the more peace and blissfulness you will start experiencing from within. In addition, you need to listen to Murli, which is the direct knowledge of God, which is available in all Brahmakumari's Rajyoga meditation centers, absolutely free of cost. You can Google it yourself, as I mentioned earlier. So, this is how you can stay intoxicated. One, you are becoming soul conscious. The blissfulness is the true nature of soul. In addition, now you have the happiest news ever, that you are no longer going to face any pain and sorrow that you have been experiencing for the past 2500 years in hell. For the next 2500 years, no matter where you go, everything you see, you listen, will be filled with nothing but happiness. So that's the greatest happiness. But you need to think about it all the time to experience happiness all the time. It doesn't come just by shaking your legs or bending your legs or doing any hatha yoga or doing any circus. If that were the case, people working in circus, they should be experiencing bliss all the time, but they don't. So you have to understand that. And he says, uh, so he says, uh, people think it is suffering that makes you profound. He says, not for me. Okay. How do you escape the suffering? How do you escape this suffering? So he has thousands of followers, so who treats him like a god. So he has nothing to worry. But it is not true. In fact, he has his own worries. He is just acting. That's it. Or else, why would he get angry just when somebody addresses him as Jaki Vasudev instead of Sadhguru, which is his real name? Jaki Vasudev is his real name. Sadhguru is actually the name of God Shiva. Not, it cannot be given to any human. Sadhguru means the guru who teaches the truth to the soul about where it should go after leaving this body. Does he teach anything about it? He proudly says, "I don't promise heaven or hell to my mukti or jivan mukti or moksha to my followers. But people are so ignorant. They're very poor. Maybe they are rich in wealth, but in intellect wise, they are very poor. That's why they treat him like God. Anyway, it's Kali. It's their kingdom. And he says, now we know the how to escape that suffering being in the family. How do you do that? Even Sadhguru, if he's not getting money from anybody, if everybody becomes sannyasi, how will he get money to eat? Right? He is a sannyasi. So people are willing to give him money. Who is willing to give him money? It is people from the family, not sannyasis. Sannyasis are not going to give him money. It is from the family hold people who are giving them money to run ashram, everything. But you don't have any solution to them. Because if you know that, you wouldn't be sannyasi in the first hand. Right? So now God says, so everybody's part is pre-recorded in the soul. So they are just playing that part. Why should you worry about it? Just detach yourself, see them as the soul. Now you think that soul is playing its part. Don't bring your attention to the body. When you bring your attention to the body, then you will relate it to yourself. He is my husband, he is my father, like that. Only then it gets hurt. You are in no way attached to him. You are just seeing it as a soul, son of the supreme soul. He is playing his part. You feel mercy that he doesn't have this knowledge. So you give this knowledge, but still he rejects. He wants to follow the human gurus. So what can we do? So God is giving his hand to everybody who is drowning in the hell. But people in hell, they are not ready to hold the hand of God. Instead, they feel very comfortable in the hands of Ravan. So what can God do? So he is sending his messengers, who is none but us, whoever speaks this knowledge. There are many, and the famous one is B.K. Shivani. Everybody knows about her. So it is by becoming soul conscious, by detaching yourself all the time, only then you will be able to stay unaffected. You will be affected neither by anything that's happy or anything that's sorrow. Because even if it is happy in Kali Yuga, after some time that definitely brings sorrow. But you feel the happiness within you when you start connecting your mind with the Supreme Soul. Just do it for yourself. You will know it. And by reading the Murli, every single word of God, which is called Murli, it has such a magic that no matter how depressed you are, just 5 minutes after starting reading the Murli, you will feel your heart so light. That's the magic of God's word. The soul gets satisfied only with the word of Supreme Soul, not with the words of humans. So he is the Sadguru, true Sadguru. Sadguru itself means true Guru, but unfortunately, God comes at the time when everybody calls them Sadguru, Bhagavan, God. So, what to do? And he says, uh, his core teaching is nothing but be happy that you are the life. That's it. See, you are living. Now you can see the world. Is it not something extraordinary? Feel happy for that. People are clapping like anything. Poor people. They don't know how many people are begging for death. If you read the chapters of Job in Bible, he'll be begging for death because he has lost all his sons. He has lost all his farm animals in one go. And also, he is afflicted with a disease that he even Lying in bed gives him so intense pain, short pain. So if somebody loses their husband and children to COVID, will you say to them, "Wow, you are alive, be happy"? No fool will ever say that. So people are so foolish to believe whatever humans say. That's the thing. So, but now God says, I am with you. So he will do. There are many instances. For example, one Brahmakumari sister, uh, she was taking classes in a village. So she has to, there is no, so this happened some 20 years back. So there were no transport to that village. Even now, there are many villages like that. She has to walk by foot because she's not allowed. And Brahmakumari sisters, they are not allowed to sit behind any men's uh, bicycle or motorbike. So they have to go on foot or they have to take auto. So she was walking, and when she was returning, it's about to become dark. So that place is famous for theft, rape, everything. And she's seeing uh, two men waiting, and she's uh, say we call God as Father. In Hindi, it is called Baba. We don't refer to Satya Baba or Sai Baba or any human Babas. We have connection only with God Shiva. We call him Baba. Baba, be with me. He is constantly speaking with God, and she is passing him. And the next day, in the newspaper, she was seeing that those two persons raped another girl that came after her. And she was surprised. She went to the prison to see, and she asked, even I paused there, how's it you didn't do anything to me? And he said, there was a very big man coming with you. I was scared. So that's none but Brahma into whom God enters. So he takes the photo of Brahma and showed him, is it that person? He said yes. So that's the magic God Shiva does. He's just in a fraction of second. If you call him, he will be right there. For that, you have to follow the teachings of him, everything, especially celibacy. Lust is the greatest enemy because of which we have lost all the soul power. That's the reason he wants us to be celibate, be pure in thought, words, actions, everything. So that comes naturally when we put effort and when we read Murli without missing it. And he says, he usually used to say that we are nothing but the accumulation of food we eat. And mind is nothing but the accumulation of what we accumulate from the surroundings. So we are more than that. So we are not this body, we are not this mind. Then who the hell we are? It is very easy to say we are not this, we are not that. Then who are we? He doesn't know that. He doesn't even use the word soul. And he is calling himself spiritual guru. Spirit itself means soul. Spirituality itself means the teachings about soul. So he says now that there is the source of creation within us that's throbbing. Otherwise, the food we eat won't throb on its own. So indirectly, he is saying, I am God, you are God. God is in everybody. Since he doesn't want to use the word God, he says the source of creation. If the word God such a bad word to use, because he doesn't want to lose his followers. When he uses word God, people will start seeking out God. He doesn't want that. He wants them to consider him to be God. So that's the thing followed by many spiritual gurus in the past. He's just following them. Then, actually, God is not within us. It is the soul that is within us that operates this body. If God is in everybody, it means God is everywhere. Everybody is saying like that, God is omnipresent. No, God is not everywhere. He is everywhere, then there is no reason to punish the rapist because it is God who did that, right? If God is inside the rapist, then it is God who raped her. Then why should you punish him? So it proves God is not in everybody. And somebody intelligently says, yeah, God is there, but he is there as a witness. Oh, he is within us. He is witnessing the rape while the girl was crying out for God. The God himself is raping her. So people don't even think about it. They're so blind. So it is the soul that inhabits us. The moment the soul leaves the body, it's dead body. That's it. So what do you know about the soul? Only the true Sadhguru is able to tell that. It's a point of light in between the eyebrows, which is so tiny, and the mind, the intellect, and sanskar are in the soul. And whatever we have accumulated from our surroundings, as Jaki Vasudev says, is recorded as sanskars. We take that from our previous birth to the next birth. So that's why if there are 5 kids in a family, they have 5 unique characters. Maybe they look the same to some extent. That is the physical appearance, but the mental makeup is entirely different. Even though they are brought up by the same parents, they are put into the same school, they are different from each other because they come from different places. They have different sanskars. So this is what God teaches. What does Sadhguru teach about this? He doesn't touch anything about spirituality. But unfortunately, in Kali, he is the number one spiritual leader. That's the fun of it. Okay. And now he says you must become the source of light to the world. Where did he copy this from? From Bible. In Bible, he says you are the light of the world. So this is what he does. He read Osho, takes something from that. He read G.D. Krishnamurti, something from Bible. Whatever enters him, he couldn't understand most part. But this thing is very catchy. You are the light of the world. Go light the world. How do I do that? By increasing the voltage. How to increase the voltage? Just by staying calm. And do you know what his ambition in 2025 is? To make at least 3 billion people to close their eyes daily for 15 minutes, at least for 7 minutes. That's the spirituality he's speaking about. Closing the eyes is spirituality. Everybody is closing their eyes during their sleeping. In fact, what spirituality is? You will say in all Hindu temples, deities are having their eyes open. You will see the happiness and mercifulness in the eyes and with their hands blessing us. And they try to represent in a physical form, but that is what's happening in every Brahmakumari in a mental form. We spread peace and happiness by creating thoughts about God and the heaven that He is bringing for us. And we want everybody to enter heaven by giving this knowledge. If they can't take this knowledge, not everybody is going to take this knowledge. 1 in million will take this knowledge and enter heaven. But don't worry, if you are listening to this video that's more than 1 hour, it's definite that you had been a deity in the past. You will be a deity again by becoming a Brahmakumari now. Maybe you don't accept it instantly, But if you have patience to watch this far, you must be a deity soul. No doubt about it. So uh, he says, how do you light up the world? By eating less and doing more sadhana. What is sadhana? By shaking the legs for 1 hour. Actually, Isha Yoga practices, it's very tough compared to other things. It will cost heavy. People attending their classes, they will say they have broken my legs. And they will make you sit for 3 days. What do you achieve? Even beggars sit in the same place. Those who don't have legs, they sit throughout their life. Is that the spiritual progress or sadhana you speak about? No, it is happening inside. Okay, what did you teach to do inside? Whatever you teach is just controlling breath, bending your legs, hip. That's it. How can it change your mind? How can you progress spiritually? Eating less, okay, that's good because you don't fall asleep. It should not be less. It shouldn't be less. It shouldn't be large. It should be adequate. How do you know that? Even if you eat less, you will feel weak. If you eat more, you will feel sleepy. So you should know the balance, the right amount for you. Okay. So he says to dedicate certain amount of time daily for the inner well-being. Okay. What is that? Say that. I have attended his classes. I have listened to him. Many of his speeches. He doesn't say anything about it. Is there any secret that you need to do? Okay, some intellect people will come and put in the comment. You have to practice it. What if you shake your legs for years? Then you think your intellect will develop on its own? Are you so dumb? So now he says, turn inward, dip into the source, which is the very source of creation, which he copied from Brahma Kumaris. So be introvert. Instead, he is using the word turn inward and dip into the source. If he says, because God says, immerse into the ocean of knowledge, which is God, ocean of love, which is God. But he is using a different word, so it appears it's not Brahma Kumari's knowledge. Dip into the source. You don't know, you didn't teach anything about source. How can they dip into the source? Did you say anything about God? You said God is the dark energy. You said God is vacuum. You said God is nothing. So dip into the nothing? Is that what you're speaking about? So he says, by doing this, you will burst into light and joy by being just calm. Do you expect? You know what? There are many pastors, nuns, saints from all religions. They fall into lust. They are not ordinary people. They were strict sannyasis in their past lives. But those sannyasis, renunciation, staying away from the world did not prevent them from coming down. That's why they now indulge in sexual acts and get caught. And now he says, the best gift you can offer to the world is to become the most wonderful human being, which is true. But how? How do you do that? Most wonderful human being. It is called Purushottam. Purushottam. So how do you become that? Do you know what is most wonderful human being means? Or good human being means? Any clarity on that? He's just using words, whatever that comes to his mouth. No matter what others do, you be good. Yes, that's good. But how to be that way? So people think by surrendering their wealth to Isha Yoga, they don't have to worry about anything. But what they do not know is world destruction is sure to happen for everybody. So during that time, what will they do? We are witnessing landslides everywhere, including Tamil Nadu. What will you do if something like that happens? What will you do if you are left empty handed? So, if an organization is looking after you, you feel secure. But nobody's got to look after you all the time, right? So, what would you do after that? What would you do after this birth if you have to take birth again in some places where your all sinful acts, devils emerge because you did nothing to transform it. You didn't do anything to transform your lust into purity, anger into silence. You just stayed away from that's causing those things. Even Sadhguru, he doesn't know how to handle anger. That's why when somebody addresses him by his name, he gets so provoked. And when somebody else asks him about one controversial question, he asked his members to turn off the camera. So he wants everybody to believe that he is cool all the time. And how can he teach others to stay calm? So, and now he says, so how do you become the most wonderful human being? The basis of that is purity, conquering lust. See, in Isha Yoga, they shave the heads of women, young girls, because he knows that if they have hair, they'll be attracted to their own beauty, and others will also be attracted so that they can't stay pure. So, is it how they conquered lust? Lust is anyway going to be within them, right? So, what do you do about that? So, if they are in the ashram away from other uh, well dressed men and women, maybe they are safe. Even then, they will be disturbed for sure. But the world we live in, we have no control of it. People are saying, it is my body, it is my right, I can dress the way I wish. What can you do? How can you shave everybody's head? It's impossible. So that's why God says, make sure your focus is always in between the eyebrows of the person you are speaking with, so that you focus on the soul, not on the body. No matter what she dresses, you don't bother because your focus is just on the soul. You will have those test papers to enter heaven because that's the world filled with beautiful men and women, but without traces of lust. And you are tested here for your eligibility to enter heaven. That's why in Ramayana, it is shown Ram tests Sita by making her walk on fire. So that's the fire of lust, fire of anger, fire of attachment. When you are able to pass those things by being at peace, no matter what provokes you, that's when you become eligible to enter heaven, to claim the highest status of heaven. And he says, you blossom like a flower. You don't have to worry about the fragrance. It's a consequence. It will come automatically. So, what does he mean by flower? We offer flower to God. Do you know what it means? We become flower and surrender ourselves to God. So, what does he mean by flower? He just picks the line from Osho and just uses it without knowing the meaning of it. Even Osho doesn't know that. Whatever it comes into him, he just speaks. You know how pathetic his last time was. I'm speaking about Osho. He was so depressed. He was in jail. He was cheated by his own uh, fellow women. So, what can he teach to others? when he can't handle everything on his own. The main thing is you have to detach yourself from everybody so that you will be at peace all the time. If you think you can enjoy the worldly joyfulness and also stay peace, trust me, you will be deceived. It's not going to happen. This is not Satyug. In Satyug, you can enjoy the richness of heaven and be at peace at the same time. But here, everybody's mind is corrupted. Obviously, they will cheat you one time or the other. That is sure to happen. So here, God, when He says you have to become a flower, He's speaking about the fragrance. What's this fragrance? He says fragrance represents the divine qualities. So we don't offer flower that we keep in women's head to God, right? We uh, we don't use that flower for any other purpose before offering to God.
Use fresh
Likewise,
flowers.
yeah. Likewise, our mind should not be corrupted with anybody's thought. That's when you become flower. That's when you surrender yourself to God. So he speaks nothing about God. How can they feel anything divine there? And um, he makes a great joke. He committed some jokes as usual, but what he thinks is serious is actually a joke because he says in 2025 you should become a wonderful human being. How long do you need? Do you need till the December of 2025 to become that? No. It takes long time to become nasty. It takes no time to become good. And people are clapping their hands. They are not in their senses. And he is saying, see, child, newborn child, see how pure it is. But it takes years for it to get corrupted. But he has no idea the punishment the child undergoes in the mother's womb for the past 6 months or even more. That's how it becomes pure. And God makes him forget everything. But still, it carries the sanskar. When it gets triggered, it will start exhibit those characters. So, do you think it's very easy to come out of the angry mood? If it is so easy, why should Sadhguru want to switch off the camera when the anchor asked him some uncomfortable question? So, that clearly shows he can't handle that. And he says, I have given you a tool to live happily. So, you don't know how to use the tool yourself then? So, in reality, it takes time and effort to conquer lust, to become soul conscious. So that's the reason God gives you the teachings in the form of Murli daily. You need to read at least thrice a day in order for you to imbibe at least some of it so that your qualities become divine from devilish. So actually, it takes a second to become nasty. Whatever crime they commit, it's a second thought, right? It's a second thought. They don't give much time, whether it's suicide or murder. They don't give much time. It is because their mind is out of their control, they are doing that. So it is when your mind is fully under your control, you will become good. So that's not going to happen. So for that, God is giving this weapon of knowledge, not Jaki Vasudev. He has no idea what it is. Okay. Then he says, no matter what happens around you, keep yourself what is ideal for you. And he is asking, which is ideal for you? Be joyful or be depressed? Of course, everybody wants to be joyful. So why can't you be joyful? Wow, it's very nice to listen. How can you be joyful when your sister is raped in front of you? When your lover is raped in front of you, as happened in Anna University, Tamil Nadu, how is it possible? Teach them. Did you ever say don't love? Because that's the actual solution for that. If you are detached from everybody, then you have no reason to suffer. But you never spoke about detaching yourself from everybody. Actually, you are making everybody attached to you, and you want them to cry when you suffer. They were crying when he was admitted in hospital for that some brain issues. So, and now he says, okay, I'm going. Now he is boasting about the number of views he is get. He is boasting that he is the number one spiritual guru, that his YouTube views are more than anybody's. Around 25% of the human population or his regular followers. He is boasting that. And just to show that he is humble, he is saying, see, it's just 25% of population, but my intention is to spread a drop of spirituality to everybody, but I can't do it. See, my health conked last year. What can I do? I'm going to die a failure. But anyway, because to pass, you need to get 35%, but I've got only 25%. But anyway, I used to say that it is good to die a failure than to die a success, because if you die a success, it means you haven't created high goal. You just have created childish goals. So he has created a very big goal of making everybody close their eyes for 15 minutes, which is already happening. Everybody has tried meditation. No matter what form of meditation they do, the first thing they do is close their eyes. And whenever they go to God, they close their eyes. And needless to say about sleeping. So that's his life aim. And I don't know whether he will get his drop of actual true spirituality in this birth. Of course, he will get, but the question is whether in this birth. Okay. Because in the end, already it's been 18 years since God came. So it's approximately 100 years' time. So 80 years is already over. So the world will definitely get destroyed. But are you ready for that? Are you ready to leave this body happily? Or have you made yourself eligible to enter heaven? Because that's the God's gift. By becoming wonderful human being, you are entering the world of wonderful human beings. And what's the definition of wonderful human being? Having no trace of lust, anger, greed, attachment, and ego. How do you do that? By becoming fully soul conscious. Does he teach what soul conscious is? Does he know what soul is? He says it's just imagination. You read from some books, as if he is saying from his own. He is just vomiting what Osho has written, what Jiddu Krishnamurti has written, what is written in Bible, and what some other gurus are speaking. And he's making people believe that you don't read anything. It will automatically come to you. You have to experience it yourself. What can you experience it? Ask him to stay in a place for a year without doing anything. Then he can preach others, do nothing. That's the highest sadhana. Then, most important thing he revealed is he's the man fond of popularity. Everybody knows that. So that's the reason he created Shiva, the huge Shiva, which is actually not Shiva at all. It's Shankar. He has no idea what it is. So Shiva is actually he's just a tiny point of light, and that is worshipped as lingam. So he has that huge lingam as well. He doesn't know which to pray. So he says you don't have to do, just you be there. You will get those vibrations. So the word vibration is suffering like anything in the words of in the mouths of these spiritual gurus. If they don't know anything, they will just say vibrations. That's it. And he now you know what he is going to build next. He has already succeeded in creating those Shiva statues in a couple of places. Now he is going to open Trishul, trident, that's in the hands of God Shiva and Parvati. Do you know what its size is going to be? 54 feet tall, the highest. Not only that, that will be on the stone chariot with wheels. You can move it. So he wants the world to see him. That's it. But does he know what the now he is saying Shiva is nothing but Adi Yogi. He came and teach. What did he teach? Just stay calm. You need God for that. So he says that's Adi Yogi, not God. God is dark energy. Okay. Now I don't know what he is going to say about and give definition about this Trishul, Mahashul. Obviously, he will come with something. People will just buy that. But the actual meaning of that Trishul is the knowledge of the three times past, present, and future. In the past, we were the deities of heaven. We have lost it now by becoming addicted to those five vices, by becoming body conscious, by conquering the lust, by becoming fully soul conscious. We are going to be the deities of heaven again. That's our future. So you have to remember this all the time. That's why we apply uh, tilak here. So that's nothing but Trishul. It's not the weapon to kill anybody. If he is Adi Yogi, why does he need Trishul? If he's teaching you just to stay silent, why does he need that in the first place? Why should he wear a
Correct.
snake?
Correct.
Why is Ganga arising from him? The actual
It's correct.
meaning of that is people think by taking bath in the Ganges they will become pure. How can they become
Mm.
pure? If somebody is so addicted to lust or habitual offender, habitual rapist, if he takes bath in Ganga, do you think he will come out of it? He's so addicted to it. So it is by
No.
remembering God constantly and by saying to himself that he is the pure soul, the direct son of God or daughter of God, that he will eventually be able to come out of it. So that's the weapon. So you can find almost all Hindu deities with several weapons in their hands. So you may think that they use those weapons to kill others, as mentioned in the scriptures. Okay, if that's the case, why is it that they also hold a lotus flower in one hand? Are they going to fight with lotus flower? You got to understand that. So it is staying detached from everything, including your own body, is the actual fight. Our enemy is nothing but Ravan, 10-headed Ravan, which is nothing but lust, anger, greed, attachment, and ego, which is present in both men and women. We are the true Sitas that's kidnapped by Ravan. The whole world is kingdom of Ravan. God comes in the end to save us all from the clutches of Ravan. All you need to do is to hold the hand of God, not anybody. If you hold the hand of any human being, what are you going to achieve? Even Jaki Vasudev, he is going to attain mukti when only when he hold the hand of God Shiva. As of now, he has no idea what Shiva is. But whatever he does, see, people who wrote Bible, Quran, even they have no idea what it actually means. People who build those temples, they have no idea what that means. Likewise, he doesn't know what the Shivaling means, what that Shankar means, and now about this Trishul. And I don't know whether there is any place where there is Trishul on the chariot. So this Trishul, and the reason all deities are shown holding to Trishul or some other weapon in their hand is because They're holding on to the knowledge with their mind and intellect, not with hands. So, with that, they kill not the other person, but the vices within. When they become jealous, they kill it by saying, I'm just a soul, they are just a soul, they are just playing their part. If you see a rich person, someone very famous, very attractive in your own field, where everybody praise them, when you get jealous, you know they must be the recent soul. They have just come to this earth. So obviously they will be enjoying that. If, be it Sadhguru or anybody from any field who is very famous, they are none but the recent souls. Obviously, they will have some power of purity because they didn't take birth previously. So whatever they blabber, people are just going to buy that. It's the power of purity, not the power of knowledge. So now we know that, and they didn't enter heaven, they didn't even enter hell when it was not that bad. They enter hell at its peak, when sorrow at its peak. Just because they're rich for a temporary period of time doesn't mean they are not going to suffer. They will definitely suffer before the end of the world. They will roam as ghosts. They don't know how to relieve themselves. No matter what they do, you say Om Namah Shivaya, Allah, Jesus, nothing is going to take you to the soul world unless you remember, you consider yourself to be the soul and to remember God as a point of light in the golden red colored light world. So this is the knowledge that everybody must take, will take, at least at the end, to attain mukti. That is to reach the residence of God. But that's not the aim, because everybody has to go there. But the true aim is to take birth in heaven. For that, you have to imbibe divine qualities, which happens only by reading knowledge of God Shiva directly from Brahmakumaris. It's absolutely free. You can find it on internet also. If you think you are very famous, how can I go to a simple place? Then you search the internet instead of searching Osho and G.D. Krishnamurti and wasting your time. Why not read Brahmakumari's knowledge given directly by God daily? So whether or not Sadhguru is going to listen to it, at least some of his devotees will listen to it. Among them, at least one will be the deity's soul. It is for them we are putting so much effort. Obviously, the reason he is launching that 54 feet threshold is to attract the world. If something is big, obviously everybody will be attracted. Maybe he will invite a president or prime minister for that. Who knows? Maybe he will invite the American president so that the whole world's attention. Anything can happen. But does he know the meaning of that? That's the real question. Maybe he has that in his dream, so he is doing that. But it actually means the knowledge given by God. Hold on to that. Knowledge includes the remembrance of God, includes the knowledge of this time cycle. And the reason he has put chariot, which is, I don't know, I haven't seen anywhere Trishul placed on the chariot. Obviously, that chariot will also be big, I guess. So, God has his knowledge, but he needs a chariot to give this knowledge. Chariot is nothing but human body. So he enters Brahma's body. That is his chariot. That is called as Nandi in Bhakti Marg, in the path of devotion. God doesn't enter a bull because he has to teach humans. Only humans can understand. For that, he has to enter a human, which is Brahma. That Brahma is called Adam in Bible and Quran. So even in Shivling, what you see, only the first top half is God Shiva, which is the point of light. The bottom half is the mouth of Brahma, which is actually called Kaumaki, which means the mouth of a cow. So that's the mouth of Brahma, which God uses to give his knowledge. Even in Bible, it is mentioned initially the word was with God. The word becomes God. It is through word the world is created. Since they have no idea about the word of God, which is this knowledge, they think that is Om. And he's very intelligent in fooling people. So, because people of all religions will attend his classes, right? So he says, see, even in Muslims, they say Al Amin. In Christians, they say Amen. In Hindu, they say Om. Everything is same. But he doesn't know the meaning of Om. Om means it. I'm a soul. Aham Atma. That's Om. And the reason we say Om Shanti, I'm a soul, my true nature is peace. It is because I identify myself with whatever I have, like my body, that I have lost peace. The moment I realize that I'm just a soul, you will be the embodiment of soul. Because that's the true nature of soul. You don't have to go to temples, churches, mosques, or these spiritual gurus and spend money and energy and waste time, and in the end you will not get anything except you have wasted everything. Instead, you be where you are, consider yourself to be the soul, and remember God as a point of light. So that's the basic essence of God's teaching. Hope at least one becomes a Brahmakumari by listening to this. If you do, please leave a comment so that that will inspire us. Om Shanti. Thanks for watching. Thank you so much, sister. Om Shanti.
Thank
Dear
you.
brothers and sisters, Happy New Year and Happy Sankranti and Happy Pongal for Tamilians. Om Shanti, sister.